All right, and we are live. Welcome back with Murphy Mag to another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast, where we help you get started on your fitness journey. How's it going, everybody? Hope y'all having a great day today. We have a guest joining the podcast. We have Miss Cherie Calbom is going to join the podcast. I'm going to bring her up onto the screen now. So, Cherie, just to give you a little quick glimpse of who we are and what the podcast is about. It's called the Fitness Beginner Podcast, and the goal is just to help people get started on their fitness journey, help people get motivated, try to learn a little bit more about fitness. We try to keep things. I normally I keep things to a kind of basic level, and then when I have people on, guests like you, we'll dive deeper into some topics and get more in depth on like specific things. So that's why I love having people come join the podcast because we get to learn a little bit more about their specific areas of fitness or health or whatever it
Yes.
is that you do. So that's a little bit about us. If you would, just go ahead and tell the audience who you are and kind of a quick glimpse of what you do.
I'm a nutritionist. I have a Master of Science in Whole Foods Nutrition from Bastyr University. I'm known as the Juice Lady because of my juicing. I wrote Juicing for Life a lot of years ago, and it sold over 2 million copies. I've been known as the Juice Lady ever since. I healed my body. Talk about fitness and getting well. I healed it from chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia and terribly tired, just no energy, couldn't even walk around the block. So, talk about a bad road with no fitness. And when I changed my diet and started juicing and did a 5-day juice fast, and then started adding in whole foods, real foods, live foods, which is not something that I had eaten much of before. I love fast food and junk food. My whole health turned around. And not only was I able to walk around the block, I was able to accomplish a lot. I went back to school and got my Master of Science in Whole Foods Nutrition, became the juice lady for the Juice Man Company, started traveling on the weekends before I completed my degree, doing the juicing seminars. And that company sold to Salton. Salton is the company that did the George Foreman Grills. And I started doing QVC, working with George Foreman, became his nutritionist, the other spokesperson for the grills, ended up doing some infomercials with George. And I was with one of the great fitness guys, one of the great boxers. And from there, the career that I've had has spanned continents and cultures. I was brought in by the royal family of the UAE to consult with the royals and bring health and juicing and ideas for the royal family. So,
Hmm.
the book I'm going to talk about tonight is The Truth About Seed Oils. It's upcoming. It's my latest book. It's number 36 of all the books I've written, and I've sold over 3.5 million copies of books total. So I'm excited to talk about a topic near and dear to my heart, which is seed oils. I know it's very popular right now in social media. What's the truth? What's bad? What's fiction? And what's reality?
Yeah, seed oils definitely is a hot topic right now. So I like to, and I'm not as educated on it as I should be. So I'm gonna enjoy the conversation today. But I want to say congratulations on your 36th book. That's crazy to me. I don't even, I've never wrote one book, and you got 36 of them. That's awesome. So congrats to you. That's a huge milestone. Do you just love writing, or how did you get into writing books?
I enjoy writing, yes. Uh, it depends on the topic. I've written some books I haven't enjoyed writing. I was asked to do them. This one I had great joy. It seemed to flow, and I was really excited to get some truth out to the people in our country, and maybe who knows where it will go in the world. But yeah, I'm for the most part I do enjoy writing, and I think in order to do a book, because they are a lot of work, you have to love some parts of it, or there's no way. There is no way you can stick it out and get all of that done.
So you said you kind of got started with juicing. What got you into juicing to begin with? Like what sent you down that path?
Well, being so sick, when I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, I went to several doctors. Nobody knew what to do about those conditions, and they really still don't. They try to manage them with antibiotics and certain medications, and it doesn't change anyone's life that I've ever met. So I was really desperate. I was very young, and my whole life was ahead of me. And I thought, I can't live like this. And there's so many things I want to do. I want to get a degree. I did want to write books then. And I'd like to get married, and I'd like to see the world. And I can't even, I had to sleep 12 hours a day. I can't even get up and go for a walk. And I thought there's got to be a better way. So I went to health food stores and talked to people there, and they did have some answers for me, different than the doctors who said really there was nothing that could be done or that I could do. They asked me, several people, what I was eating, and it was not good. I was a sugaraholic, and as I said, I liked fast food and junk food, and I did not like vegetables. I detested vegetables. Scary, isn't it? Yeah, I was sick. So somebody told me about a juicing, and I thought, all right, I think I'll give it a try, and let's just go for it. So I did a 5-day juice fast, vegetable juice fast. And on day 5, my body expelled a tumor about the size of a golf ball with blue blood vessels attached. That got my attention really fast. I always wanted to know what that was about. And later I found out when I completed my master's in nutrition that I was looking at angiogenesis, which is the growth of blood vessels to tumors to feed it. That's its food supply. And nature scissors are those phytonutrients, those amazing phytonutrients that they keep discovering and naming, like abogenin and luteolin are two that cut off that supply. So that's what had happened for me. I had no idea what was happening for me, but I thought, wow, I got rid of that. My mother died of breast cancer when I was 6 years old. I think I've been following in her footsteps, and maybe I'm going to wake up well tomorrow. I didn't. I didn't wake up well the next day. My body was on a journey. And that's what I always explain to people. When you start making your new health journey, your body goes through a process. It isn't like a drug, something instant, take this, take two, you wake up better in the morning or whatever. This is a journey of healing and cleansing, getting rid of toxins, building, rejuvenating. That is the journey that I was on. And so when I didn't wake up well the next morning, I thought, well, I'm not giving this up because I got some results, right? Something happened. It was pretty amazing, pretty surprising. So I'm going to stick with it. And added in food. I didn't just juice, added in real food, but lots of vegetables. I thought I'm turning to vegetables, like them or not, hate them or not, I'm going to eat them, no matter what, because I was reading about that and how good they were for you. And then I added in some brown rice, and I did stir fries and soups and stews and salads and vegetables every way you could think of. And I was vegetarian, yeah, vegetarian, not vegan, for that summer, but I didn't do dairy, and I'm not now. So I do eat some animal products, but in 3 months. It was like one morning I woke up and thought, oh, somebody gave me a new body last night. I felt fabulous. And that is a corner that I turned, but it wasn't instant. I had been building toward that all along. I'd had good days and not so good days and ups and downs, but I was building to that moment all along. And then one day it was just a reality. And it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And so I thought, I'm going back to Southern California from Colorado, where I was at my father's house, and back to my friends, back to my lifestyle. And they were all going out still for pizza and beer and cheeseburgers and fries and fried chicken. And so I thought, wow, I've been through the cure. I can join my friends. That's so my symptoms started coming back, and that scared the daylights out of me. I thought, okay, how can I go down this road? This has got to be a way of life. And it took me quite a while to get to the way of life. I'm like maybe most people, but how close can I get? How much can I cheat? How many bites of this can I have before I pay a price? I realized not too much. So this had to be a way of life. And that's when your fitness for beginners, I started bringing that into my life, from Pilates and step aerobics and all sorts of different, weight classes, and building up strength and stamina and endurance and eating right. And it has been a journey that has paid off. because as one client said to me, nothing on earth tastes as good as good health. That's for sure.
That's true.
Mhm.
So, if anybody is interested in juicing, what how would you recommend they go about it? So, like, is it something you should do like a fast like you did? Do you recommend doing it that way, or do you do like just added one juice in a day? Like, what's kind of a way people could get into it if they were interested in juicing?
I recommend maybe jumping in a little slower, like you said, a juice a day. Start your day with juice. It's fresh, live food. It's a great way to wake up your cells in the morning, wake up your brain, get your whole body going with vital nutrients. Some people do just jump right in. They're saying, I want to do a juice fast. I'm going to go for it, like I did. And that's fine too, but do a short one. I did 5 days. Maybe that's a lot of time for some people, but you can start with 1 or 2 days if you want to do that. But for most people, what they do is to start with 1 or 2 glasses of juice a day and just see how they feel. And you're going to feel better. You're going to notice a difference. Everyone does. Everyone tells me, wow, I noticed. Here's what I hear a lot: some pains are going away. My brain fog is going away. I have more energy. I feel like working out more than I did before. So I hear those comments a lot. And I know that a lot of young people are very, very interested in natural healing. They, more so than the other generations, are saying, tell me what I can do naturally for this. I don't want those drugs. I don't want to do what, my parents, my grandparents did. So I think there's a real awakening right now amongst Gen Zs and millennials in particular, who are very, very interested. And that's primarily my audience on Instagram. I do juice reels all the time of showing people different recipes or giving them tips. And my biggest audience is Gen Z and millennials. Very, very interested in juicing. And I think it goes hand in glove with what you're doing in helping people with their fitness, their workouts. And you've got to have energy to do that. My goodness, depends on what kind of workout you're doing, but even just for me trying to join a Pilates class, I needed energy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think kind of Gen Z and millennials are getting more interested in their health because I
Mm,
think they're people are starting to wake up and realize that hey, we're not going down the right path here. Like what we've been doing is not necessarily working for everybody. So I think it's people are finally starting to wake up. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. Um, so what? So just give what's a quick like easy juice recipe? Just give one quick example, just to give everybody an idea.
okay. Uh, a one that tastes great. You need a good base and something that tastes great, especially if it's new for you. Carrot, apple, ginger is, I think, wonderful. So 5 carrots, 1 apple, a nice little chunk of ginger. You can add more, 2 inches if you like spice, or maybe half an inch chunk of ginger if you don't, and juice all that up. It's a great base. Then you can start experimenting, like
Mhm.
maybe I'll have a couple leaves of kale in there, or a handful of spinach, or I've got some parsley. Maybe I'll throw that in. And if you have a nice tasting base, you won't even know those greens are in there, but your body will.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good quick little recipe. I was just curious at what all kind of stuff you put in. I'm sure there's all kinds of ways you can make it, but
Yeah.
um, I've never done juicing honestly, but I was curious as to what you would put in there.
Yeah, it's really delicious. And then another little tip, get a good juicer. So a friend said this to me the other day. She bought the one I recommend, which is the Nama J2. And if you're interested, check it out and use my code Juice Lady and you get $60 off. But she said, so many of my friends have said, I don't know if this juicing is for me, so I'm just going to get a cheap juicer. And then they hated it because the juicer's awful, right? It doesn't do a
Mhm.
good job. And it's hard to clean or whatever. And so they're unhappy and they say juicing's not for me and I'm just going to chuck the whole thing. But if you get a really nice juicer that does a beautiful job and it's easy to clean and it's quiet and it preserves the nutrients and the flavors, like it. How could you not? Tastes good.
So do you use the juice as like a meal replacement, or do you add it on to a meal?
It depends. A lot of days for me, it's my morning meal,
Hmm.
especially if I'm racing off to do an exercise class at the gym. I like classes because I have to be there at a certain time. It keeps me honest and doing it. Um, so I often do the juices, and then I'm off to my class. There are mornings where I do I do several different juices, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. But then I maybe eat an egg, or I love buckwheat cereal too. Cream of buckwheat, I think it's pretty good. So I may have some of that after the juices. But I start the day with what I call the wellness shot. It is a big chunk of ginger and a big chunk of fresh turmeric and a lemon peeled, a whole lemon peeled. That is going to blow your taste buds out of the water and wake them up like nothing before. But it is a wellness shot. And turmeric and ginger are known to be anti inflammatory. Ginger is very rich in zinc, and those are fabulous for your immune system. If you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel like I might be coming down with something and I can't afford to be sick, make yourself a wellness shot. And then, of course, the lemon with that white pithy part, leave as much on as you possibly can. That's where your concentrate of vitamin C and bioflavonoids are. And you've got a power rich little, I put them in shot glasses for my husband and I because I think it's more fun to have something in a cute little shot glass. So I start my day with that. And then I do the liver cleanse shake. Our livers, and we're hearing more and more about that. It's in the news. There are lots of commercials with different products that people have got. So it's kind of waking up America to, oh, gee, maybe I should think about my liver. It is the processing center of our body. Everything, all the blood and everything goes through there and filters through there and gets cleansed through there. And boy, that liver can get clogged up. So I do a liver cleanse shake, and that is a peeled whole lemon, put in the juicer, and a peeled whole lime. I juice those up, put them in the blender, add 4 or 5 cloves of garlic, and I add about a tablespoon or two, depends on if I'm making it for one or two, of olive oil. I put in some water and some ice. You could also add some orange juice if you want to sweeten it up. I like it just like that. My body seems to crave it. I put in some ice cubes. Did I say that? And about a cup of water. I blend it all up, and there is your liver cleanse citrus shake. Cleanses helps to cleanse the liver and the gallbladder, and I do that almost every morning. I'm now on a beet juice cleansing kick for the liver. So last week was 1 ounce of beet juice every day, and I put that in a little shot glass and down that. And this week is 2 ounces of beet juice every day. Week 3 next week will be 3 ounces of beet juice every day, and week 4 will be 4 ounces of beet juice every day. What that does, beet juice is fabulous. It's known to be the number one liver cleansing juice or vegetable, and it also helps to regenerate liver cells. So, new liver cells coming on and getting rid of the toxins, that is just so important. We just had lunch with friends and heard about another friend who had non alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver recently diagnosed, had to get a liver transplant. I'm hearing of this more often. Why is that? It's all the junk in our diet, from the fast foods and the convenience things. More and more young people, we were just talking about the Gen Zs and millennials, that age group is getting non alcoholic fatty liver. I'm hearing about diagnosis percents going up and up. And where is that coming from? From all the sugars that they put in foods, and especially that high fructose corn syrup is just horrible for the liver. And you don't even know it's there, which is so sad. You grab a favorite fast food thing and you don't even know that it's in there, but it's harming your liver. So anything that you can do for your liver, and the beet juice is wonderful. I often do a celery juice as well. Probably overwhelming people like, I couldn't do all that. Just do one.
Hmm.
Celery juice is fabulous for your body as well. It's so many studies on celery juice and all the things it does, like lowering blood pressure and lowering blood sugar and lowering cholesterol. And it does help the liver too and can bring down liver enzymes. I work with some people that have done that. And then once in a while, I do a smoothie with juice. I make a fresh juice combo with carrot and ginger, lemon, different greens, pour that in my blender and add an avocado peeled and blend that up. So it's really thick, and it makes a really nice breakfast. I put some uh, chopped nuts on top, or maybe some sprouted pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds, something like that. So here's my day.
I
Nice.
think the juice would be good for breakfast for a lot of people because it's quick. You just kind of throw it all into a juicer. I'm assuming you could use a blender too. Just throw it all in there and mix it up and take it with you on the go. I know a lot of people are in a rush in the morning. I know I am. I, I don't really eat breakfast normally just because I'm in such a hurry in the morning. I go to the gym in the morning before work, so I just
Yeah.
head straight out the door. So
Yeah.
that would be a good thing. You could just blend up real quick and take it with you on the go. So that's I think a lot of people could get some use out of that and get some of those key nutrients they need first thing in the morning. So give you a little jolt of energy first thing in the morning. That'd be good.
Oh, it's so good. It's a fabulous way to start the day. Just to clarify, if you put it in a blender, you'll have a smoothie, and probably need a little more fruit than vegetables. They're more fibrous. If you put it through a juicer, then you've got your juice.
Hmm.
Okay.
Does
Great.
it change? Does the juicer change the nutritional value at all versus the blender? Or is it still about the same?
It's about the same. You don't end up with the insoluble fiber in the juice, but you do end up with more juice, actually. So you can put more through a juicer. Blender, everything stays in one container. You'll end up with your insoluble fiber in the blender. Where with the juicer, that's ejected, but you do have your soluble fiber still there, and which is great for the colon or the whole intestinal tract.
So if you don't have a juicer, you're good to use a blender.
You can. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And use what you've got.
Yeah.
Think about getting a juicer someday down the road. It's a great investment.
Hmm. So and what did you say your book about juice was again?
My first book was Juicing for Life. It's the one that sold over 2 million copies, and it's 50 different ailments. So it's got all these little chapters with everything from acne, colds, headaches, cancer, heart disease, fibromyalgia, on and on it goes. And you look up what's ailing you, and you find the nutrients, the diet, and the juices for that condition. And I tried to base everything I could on science. So I would look up that condition, find the nutrients from studies as much as I could that help that condition, then look up the fruits and vegetables highest in those nutrients and make recipes out of them. So that's why that book has been really popular. So
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have to leave a link to the book down in the description. So if y'all are interested in getting the juice book, we'll leave a link down there for y'all to get to it.
yes, that would be great.
But changing gears here, you're either writing a new book or you just published a new book, The Seed Oils.
Yes, the truth about seed oils. It will be out at the end of April. And right now, advanced copies are available on Amazon. The truth about seed oils, a very hot topic right now.
Hmm.
We were talking about all the young people, and this is a very hot topic on Instagram and TikTok in particular, of the dangers of seed oils, those industrial oils that are quite new, really, in the whole um, looking at history of fats and oils. They're pretty new and pretty dangerous, and we've been eating a lot of them, most of us, for our lifetime.
Hmm. So we've always heard of like olive oil, vegetable oil. So for somebody that may not know exactly, what's the difference between olive oil or vegetable oil compared to a seed oil? So when you say seed oil, what exactly are you referring to?
So I'm so glad you asked. I learned a lot in doing this book. Olive oil is a fruit oil. Fruit and nut oils are good. Seed oils are not, and I'll explain that in a moment. But the fruit and nut oils would be like coconut and olive, and avocado is very popular right now. That would be a fruit oil, and almond and macadamia nut and sesame. Of course, that's a seed oil. That's a good one. But those are your fruit, nut, and seed oils that are good. The ones that aren't are known either as vegetable oil or seed oil. And vegetable oils started being referred to as seed oils about 2010. Why, I don't know, but they are made from seeds, so I guess they just wanted to clarify that they're not made from vegetables. When we hear the word vegetable oil or words vegetable oils, we think, oh, it sounds so fresh, like, pressed out of a garden, something very healthy and nutritious. And they aren't. They came into history and into our food supply because of waste management. We had piles of rotting cotton seeds in America, the turn of the last century, around that time. And they wanted to know, what do we do with all of this? Just these rotting cotton seeds. So let's make oil out of them. Let's press them into oil. And it turned into a very smelly, dark, unattractive oil, cottonseed oil. And they started using it in lubricating machinery. And then World War II came, and they used it for aircraft and on ships and machinery during the war. And then when tropical oils couldn't get through the waters, and a lot of shipments of oils, the good oils, couldn't make it to the US, the seed oil industry saw an opportunity. And at the same time, they had started making other oils too, like corn oil and safflower and sunflower oil. And so the industry said, let's not lose our market share after the war, but let's step up production and keep our market share. And about the same time, heart disease went on the rise and spiked. And so you have two bar graphs running at the same time, the increase of seed oils, known as vegetable oils, and the increase of heart attack. And they both went way up. And then they said, well, we've got to figure out what caused this. And instead of common sense saying what changed in the American diet, they said, well, let's do autopsies. And what are we finding? And they found cholesterol mounting over lesions in the arteries. And what caused that? They didn't really ask. They just looked at, oh, there's cholesterol here. There's fat. We need to reduce fat. We need to reduce cholesterol. What? Nobody asked that had a prominent platform. What caused lesions? What causes lesions in the arteries are seed oils. They wound the artery. And the cholesterol is part of the formation of a mound, like a scab would form on your skin. It's going to happen no matter what. And so we lost our common sense, and we lost our ability to really research, and we let an industry that saw a great opportunity for profit to put slick commercials out there, great lobbyists into Washington, D.C., and a great opportunity to just push out the small little coconut oil plantation farmers from Southeast Asia who couldn't afford to fight at all on anything, and pushed everybody away and said, we're taking the market and we're going to call the seed oils, well, they weren't called seed oils, we're going to call the vegetable oils heart healthy, and we're going to call everything else, like the animal fats, unhealthy for the heart, and we're going to take the market. And that is exactly what they did. They took the market. It is projected to be a $600 billion market by 2031.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's so weird to me that they can just they can just do something like that. Like I get when you have power and stuff you can, but it's just it blows my mind that they. I feel like we hear about stuff like this all the time. So it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting, but I'm glad that people are realizing this and they're waking up to it and saying, okay, maybe I shouldn't be eating that. Like we said, people are being more, kind of health conscious nowadays,
Mhm.
which is why this is a kind of a big topic right now. People are talking about the seed oils. You see it a lot online. Well, I do because I'm in the
Yes.
fitness space, so I see it a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's good that we're getting the message out there for people to, just educate themselves about it and then let them make the decision what they want to do from there. So
I,
from what, oh, go
I,
ahead.
I was just going to say I do too. Go ahead.
So from what I understand about the oils is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's not necessarily the oils that are bad for us. Like in some cases, the oils are good for us, like olive oil and stuff.
Oh,
It's
those are
the
good.
way they process the oil when they add heat to it. That's what makes it bad for us. Is that correct?
In part, that is partial, and then I'll explain what else is not good about the seed oils. So olive oil has always been good and always will be, and it's cold. Most of it's cold pressed or expeller pressed, and you'll see virgin olive oil. That's the best. But olive oil has a different processing. It doesn't have the high heat and the hexane chemical and other degumming and all of those processes. There's about 5 stages that the seed oils go through. And what are the seed oils? Corn, soy, cottonseed, safflower, sunflower, grapeseed, and canola are are the biggies. And those are processed to very high temperatures, usually above 500 degrees, which not only kills off everything but creates toxic byproducts like aldehydes and lipid peroxides. And those are they're toxins that damage our body and create all sorts of problems within our system. And these oils have been linked to all sorts of conditions, adverse health conditions like heart disease and cancer, metabolic disorders, Alzheimer's, dementia, even depression and anxiety, and even homicide. I went, good grief, when I read that study. But what else is it about the seed oils, also known as polyunsaturated fatty acids? They are dominated by um, double bonds. So if you're looking at biochemistry and you're looking at how carbons and hydrogens line up, and this is like more of a chemistry class now, but
Mhm.
those double bonds can be broken very easily. And when they are, it creates toxic byproducts. So there's at least 2 or more double bonds in there where olive oil and coconut oil and macadamia nut oil and avocado oil don't have those. They have one. And then animal fats like butter, tallow don't have any double bonds that can be broken. So they're those oils and those fats are durable. There's a third reason that they're problematic. They're high. They're the highest in omega 6 fatty acids, and that those are good and we need them, but we're getting way too much as a society. We're getting a ratio of about 15 to 1 omega 3, and we need a balance. It should not be any more than 4 to 1 for omega 6 to 1 omega 3. There are a lot of people who hardly get any omega 3 because they don't eat fish or they don't take fish oil or flax seeds or flaxseed oil or hemp seeds or things like that. And so they're not getting hardly any omega 3s. And so we've got a great imbalance. And that imbalance of omega 6 is creating a lot of inflammation. And inflammation is at the root of all sorts of conditions, from joint pain to serious things like cancer and heart disease, debilitating things. But inflammation is always implicated in whatever disease condition we're looking at. And so for those 3 reasons, those oils that I just named, and they're sometimes called the hateful eight, are causing a lot of these problems. And I call them the silent killers because when these oils came on the market, and they were never there before in history, never. It was coconut oil and olive oil primarily, and butter and tallow that people used for cooking. But when these oils came on the market, heart disease shot way up, and it's continued to stay up there. It's still the last time I checked, the number one killer in America. So, all these oils, because they're cheap, because they're tasteless, because they've been so highly processed, they have no taste, they have no flavor. Manufacturers use them widely because they can get them cheaply. And so they're saturating all the fast foods, the junk foods, the snack foods. If you look on the label, it'll say vegetable oil, and it might even have like Crisco in there, which is really horrible, full of trans fats. And they'll just call it either vegetable oil, they won't tell you it's Crisco, or they'll name the oil that the Crisco was made from, like soy oil or whatever. And so people, the public doesn't even know what they're eating. So that's when you got to be like Sherlock Holmes. The print is so tiny, they like to put like white on light yellow or something. So you have no idea what that says. But we have to really investigate if we're eating things from a package, what's in that? And what is that doing to my body? I have a young friend. She is definitely a millennial. She is a mom. She had migraine headaches for years and no one could figure it out. Just debilitating headaches, like knock you off your feet headaches. And she read one day about seed oils possibly contributing to that. And she decided she was going to be a label reader and get it all out of their diet. And her headaches went away and they have never come back.
Mm-hmm. What is Crisco to be exact?
So Crisco was the first whipped up oil, I'll call it whipped up, came along at the turn of the last century. It was Crisco, and Procter and Gamble made it, and it is hydrogenated oil, and it makes that fluffy white um, substance that people use for baking, um, all sorts of baked goods, and it is very high in trans fats, which was proven quite a while ago to be very, very dangerous for our health. And lots of people are aware of that. You go to your local grocery store and you look for a big can of Crisco, and it's still there, but not much. You won't see very much. But I looked online as to have sales of Crisco gone down. No. So where is it going? Well, follow the trail. It's manufacturing. Restaurants are buying it for their fried foods, and manufacturers are buying it for their packaged foods. It puts a nice finish on fried foods that looks so juicy and shiny, pretty, and it is a cheap addition to packaged foods, snack foods, crackers, whatever, and baked goods. And so it's still alive and well and selling across America.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned the ratio between omega threes and omega sixes. What should that ratio? I know you say the ratio should be 4 to 1. Is that like that's where you want to be? That's a good ratio. And so what are some ways people can balance out that ratio more?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So increase your omega 3s for one. So I mentioned fish, and when I mention that, I have people say, "Oh, I don't like fish at all." But if you like salmon or the fatty fish, they're the richest in omega 3s. But you can do other things for sure. Um, you can use flaxseed, and a lot of people do that and make a smoothie in the morning and put a couple tablespoons of flaxseed or hemp seed in their smoothie and grind all that up. That will give you a lot of omega 3s. I take omega 3 in the form of flaxseed oil, and I take a couple of tablespoons at night. You'll notice it does several things. The brain needs a lot of omega 3s, and so it's very helpful for the brain. It's very good for the skin. You'll notice maybe that your skin is getting more of a sheen, a shine to it. Um, and it's great for the heart, and it of course is bringing some balance. The other thing to do is to cut back on the omega-6. Not that you don't need them, but most people don't ever have to worry about not getting enough. They have to worry about getting way too much. And so that is to read labels and see what is on that label. Is it does it say corn oil, safflower, sunflower, soy oil, grapeseed oil, canola oil? Uh, what kind of oils are they putting in this? I'm very encouraged in one respect that I was just at Costco. They now have, which says to me it's popular, avocado mayonnaise, avocado oil mayonnaise. I thought, what
Mm-hmm.
is that? And somebody had told me, a friend had told me it tastes really good. So I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a try. But we can start being wise shoppers. I have a wise shopping chapter at the end of the Truth About Seed Oils, telling you and giving you lots of ideas and tips on where and how to shop, and restaurants. And these are restaurants that advertise no seed oils, and there are more cropping up surprisingly around the country. And even like Steak and Shake, fast food restaurant, went to beef tallow to cook their fries
Hmm.
in January, and it was last year. It was a big splash, big media splash, but it's true that beef tallow is better for you. I don't know what oil they were using before, if it was corn or peanut or what, but the beef tallow was much better because it's a very stable fat and it has a very high smoke point. Smoke point is extremely important to know, and we have a whole chart of smoke points for the different oils, the good oils and fats in our book. If your oil starts smoking or your fat starts smoking, it's breaking down, it's degrading, it's forming lipid peroxides and aldehydes, again, those toxic things. And so we don't want that. And beef tallow has a very high smoke point. So it means that it will work in a deep fat fryer for French fries, and people love it. And I just was at our health food store the other day and saw a big package, I think it was kettle chips. I'm not sure of the brand, but I think it was. They did their chips in beef tallow.
Hmm.
That, okay, I'm going to buy a bag and see what they taste like. They were absolutely delicious.
Yeah, I'm glad. I was gonna actually ask you about the beef tallow, so I'm glad that you brought that up. And I remember when Steak and Shake said they were gonna change to beef tallow and it being like a big deal. So I was curious of what your opinion on beef tallow was. You see that a lot now too. A lot of people are kind of advertising cooking in beef tallow.
Yes, much better.
So outside of the beef tallow, what are some other oils that you recommend? What should we be getting?
Yeah. So, well, sesame seed oil is good. You want to get the um, cold processed or expeller processed sesame oil, but it is a good oil. It's kind of a medium smoke point, but a lot of people like to saute, like if they're doing an Asian style recipe, it would be good, and it adds nice flavor. And of course, your avocado oil, your olive oil, and coconut oil are all great oils to use, as if you're wanting to do a higher temperature cooking, like maybe you're making some fries at home and you want to fry them, or you're doing some meat and you want something that's going to add good flavor and have a high smoke point. Beef tallow is great, and it's really nice to see it's at the big box stores now. So it
Mhm.
says that people are catching on. They don't have anything there that isn't popular. So it's catching on. I see big jars of avocado oil at big box stores. So those oils and fats are catching on, and that is a very good sign. I have done recently, because I wanted to know how it would taste, a steak, um, pan fried. It turned out fabulous in beef tallow. It was really, really good. So experimenting around with these sorts of things, and I know some people that are watching probably are vegan or vegetarian, and they're going, oh, that's not for me. So then the oils that I mentioned, coconut, um, and olive oil, avocado oil, and then there are the two nut oils, almond oil and macadamia nut oil, and then your sesame oil. All of those are great.
So what about extra virgin olive oil versus olive oil? What's the difference there?
So your extra virgin is your first pressing, and it's going to be the purest and the best. And I always look for that. Why
Mm.
not? It's a few dollars more, but it is well worth it. And lots of conversation right now about olive oil as well. Different podcasts and commercials, and people are recommending taking a couple tablespoons of olive oil a day, but it is good for your brain, it's good for your heart, um, and it's great for your skin, and it's great to cook with.
Now beef tallow is more of like a paste, right?
It's thick.
Thick,
It
yeah.
is. It is very thick.
It's kind of
Um,
like a coconut oil.
yeah, it's that consistency, and it looks almost like that. It maybe is a little creamier in color, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's that consistency and that look. And then the flavor is definitely a beef flavor, so it does add that flavor, and I think it's a very nice flavor with potatoes, like chips. or French fries. Not that I recommend eating a whole bunch of that, but I'm a realist. Everybody's going to have some once in a while, a few. So great to get them cooked in the right kind of fat.
Absolutely. Do you use oil on your salads, like kind of as like a salad dressing? Which
I,
ones do you use on your salad?
I use olive oil. And I get there's only one pre-made that I found that I really like, and that's the Bragg's. And you can get Bragg's vinaigrette or Bragg's sesame ginger, and it's with organic olive oil and organic apple cider vinegar, and then whatever flavorings for the particular oil you get. I think it's delicious. It has a little honey in it to sweeten it, and it's all good. It's all good stuff. Otherwise, make your own. And in our book, The Truth About Seed Oils, we have over 50 recipes. We have one nice section on making your own salad dressings and all the variations you can do with vinaigrettes. But either make your own or get a really good one. I haven't found much else in the dressings that are just straight olive oil. I think though Paul Newman might have one dressing that's the olive oil one with a good vinegar. But there isn't a lot out there that you can find, with the really good oils.
Hmm. So when it comes to buying the oils, where do you buy them from, and what are you looking for, like on the bottles, to know, hey, this is something I should probably stay away from, or this one is a good one?
Yeah, so the cold pressed would be your first choice, or with olive oil, it may say cold pressed or it'll say extra virgin.
Hmm.
Another thing I learned, you can look at expiration dates on the bottom of the bottle, and you don't want an old oil. Most of it, if you're in a big city, is going to sell pretty fast, and you won't have those past expiration dates. But that is something to consider, and that you don't want old oil. It does go rancid, and once you open a bottle of oil, you pretty much have to refrigerate it, except for coconut oil and olive oil, and you don't. They seem to be quite durable, sitting on a shelf. And olive oil, if you put it in the fridge, or coconut oil, will turn very hard, so hard to use. But the other oils I refrigerate, and definitely flax oil I refrigerate.
Awesome. So what are some like practical first steps for people to start, reducing their seed oil intake in everyday use?
Oh, so I would say there are some people who eat out like almost every meal, right?
Hmm.
They grab something on the way to work from a fast food restaurant. They eat at a fast food restaurant for lunch. Who knows? I don't know. Do they order pizza for dinner? What are they having for dinner? Maybe they're having something fast again. But really cut down on your fast food, because not very many restaurants right now are using good oils, and there aren't many fast food restaurants at all that are using good oils. And so when you're eating fried foods, or just the making of food, they're going to, in most everything they serve you at a fast food restaurant, is going to have a bad oil in it. So what can you do in place of that? And that is to plan ahead. And a lot of us don't. And I'm learning more and more all the time to plan ahead. Like, look at tomorrow and what your schedule is going to be. And maybe you can put some stuff together the night before that's ready to go. So you just grab it in the morning, because if you don't have something you can grab in the morning that's fast, you probably will eat something that's not good. So cutting down on fast food restaurants, drive-throughs, and cutting back on snack foods and reading labels. So you may find that you're down to just a narrow little group of foods for snacks that you can have that have good oils in them. Crackers, I don't have a big range of what I can buy for crackers with the good oils. Um, but Mary's crackers, there's a lot of choices of Mary's crackers, and they don't have the bad seed oils. But even health food store stuff, you have to be really careful. And even nut butters, sometimes they're putting bad oils in there with the nut butters. So just learn to read labels. And as you cut back on that, you're going to bring your ratio more in balance. And if you've got any kind of inflammation in your body, any kind of pain going on, if you've got migraine headaches, metabolic disorders, you may notice that they start balancing out, that you start feeling better.
Yeah, it's crazy how much just cutting certain things out of your diet can make you feel differently. It's kind of funny. Like my in laws did this recently. Well, we did a fast for church originally, and then they afterwards were like, we felt so much better after doing that. We're gonna try this other kind of fast. I forget, not fast, but a different kind of diet where they're cutting out, the oils and the artificial sweeteners and things like that. And they were like, yeah, we just feel so much better. And all they did was just cut certain foods out of their diet, and it made a huge difference on how they felt. So it's it's crazy how much what you're putting in your body actually affects your body.
Amazing. Yeah, there's a direct effect. And I can say the cleaner that your body gets, the more it's going to yell at you when it doesn't like something. I'm noticing now there were things I could eat a few years ago. I didn't notice anything now. I notice it's like, oh, I don't feel quite as good. You you live up on a certain, I call it a vibrational plane of high energy foods, like live foods, right? And then you get knocked down a little bit, and it's like, oh, I don't feel as good. I don't have as much energy as I did before, or just feel as vibrant as I did. So, those are good experiments, and be aware, really aware. But I know what you said. A lot of people have done the fast. Some people are fasting during Lent and notice that they feel really much better after it's over. Some people do the January fast. And most people, if they follow it and don't just choose a bunch of pasta and breads and things like that, they feel pretty good with all the vegetables and cutting out the junk.
Yeah, I think people eat so bad for so long that their baseline has been brought down to where
Yes.
like that feels normal to them. So when
Hmm.
they cut those foods out, then they don't realize how bad they were feeling. Like it felt normal to them at the time, but then when you cut it out, you're like, oh, I feel much better. So it's
Right.
like, oh, this is what I could feel this way all the time, but instead I got used to it, feeling bad. So it's pretty it's crazy how the body reacts to when you treat it right.
It's amazing. And it thanks you and it gives you a payoff for eating right. And that payoff is good health. And sometimes I have to stop and talk to myself like, well, is it worth it, to have a little bit of whatever, a few bites? No, it's not worth it because I know that tomorrow I'm not going to feel as good as I do today. And
Hmm.
I want to feel as good tomorrow as I do today. So I'm not going to do that.
And you gotta learn that through self experience. I'm sure he, so the first few times he's probably say, "Yeah, I'm gonna have that thing," and then you're like, you regret it in the morning. So then the
Yeah.
next time it comes around, like, "Nah, I'm good this time. I'm gonna pass."
Yeah, I'm good.
It
Thank
takes a
you.
little trial and error.
Yeah, thank you, but no thanks.
So, you mentioned earlier George Foreman. So tell me a little bit about that. How did you? Because everybody knows what the George Foreman Grill is. Like that's like on just a very common thing. So what exactly? You said you were his nutritionist for a while. So what all did you do with George Foreman and if with the grill specifically? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it was a wonderful 13-year experience. I worked with George at QVC. I did most of the shows, but for the big shows, and they called them the Today Special Value shows, where there were round the clock shows and at the key hours, big shows. George was always there, and I did the Macy's demos. A lot of times he didn't. He just showed up for the great big ones, but I did the smaller ones. And I was on QVC with the grill most of the time, just by myself, selling that grill on TV for 13 years. And then I did three of the infomercials with George. I was in the very first one, and then the next two. It was wonderful to work with him. He was a great guy, and he was into health and fitness for sure. And that's why he wanted that grill. He was looking for a company that had an indoor grill that could drip the fat away so that his food didn't just sit in all of that fat or grease, which I think was a great idea. And he went to several different companies, and Salton at the time had a sandwich maker, panini, I think they called it panini maker. And
Mhm.
they said, well, why don't we just take this, and it looked very similar to the grill, and tilt it, and then just put a little drip tray and catch the grease and see if he likes it. And he loved it. So that's how the grill was born. And then the CEO um, was joking around and saying, well, what should we call it? And I think he said, how about the lean, mean, fat reducing grilling machine? And so it was.
And
Yeah.
what's the brand? What is the company that makes it?
Well, they are no more. They're not in business, but it was Salton. I don't know who owns it now. You can still find the grills. They're
Mhm.
still out there. Somebody bought it. I don't know who, but boy, it almost every household in America had some form of the George Foreman grill. They had little ones, itty bitty ones, I call them, to great big huge ones that you could put a lot of burgers on, and some outdoor ones, electric ones as well. So they had a lot of choices.
Yeah, I was curious because everybody's heard of the George Foreman Grill before, so I thought that was an interesting thing that you were a part of. That's pretty unique.
Yes, exciting, fun years.
Well, I think that's all the questions I had for you. If you would just let everybody know where they can find you at, where they can find your books at. If you have any social media that you like to promote, you can do that now.
I would love to have you come visit me. So my website is juiceladyinfo.com. And you can follow me on Instagram. As I mentioned, I do reels all the time and little demos of juicing at Juice Lady Cherie, Cherie is my Instagram, and Facebook, The Juice Lady. So you can follow me there. And same reels go up on Facebook as go up on Instagram. My new book, The Truth About Seed Oils, is available for pre order on Amazon. So just plug in The Truth About Seed Oils. It will be out April 28th, and I hope that you will get a copy of my book and all those fun recipes. We have some notable people in there who have contributed recipes, and some chefs, and some really fun stuff, and some very practical guides like how to shop and all about the different oils and what to choose and what not to choose and how to get the bad ones out of your diet. So, and then some history of it as well, and different conditions that are caused by the seed oils and the science that backs up what we say. So I encourage you to come follow me. I'd love to have you get a copy of my free newsletter, and my little juice booklet is free when you sign up for the news at juiceladyinfo.com.
Awesome, and we'll be sure to leave a link down in the description for y'all to go to. So y'all go look down there, and you can find all of her information. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for joining the podcast. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and I'm sure the listeners got something out of it today, and they can use it, going forward. And maybe they'll try juicing or try some of the different oils that we talked about. So thank you so much for joining the podcast. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Murphy. Have a lovely evening.
You too. And that's going to do it for today's podcast episode. Y'all be sure to tune in next week for another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast. Thank y'all.